And indeed, before we even challenge the world to do anything about this situation, we want to start right here in the region. So tonight on KTN News and every night, we'll continue to challenge Presidents Paul Kagame, John Magufuli, President Uhuru Kenyatta, President Yoweri Museveni, President Robert Mugabe, as well as the Secretary General of the East African Community, Richard Sezibera, and the Chair of the AU Commission, Dr. Dlamini Zuma, to intervene before it's too late. Well, neighboring Rwanda's President Paul Kagame is pleading with Burundi to avoid the ethnic violence that ended in genocide in his own country in 1994. Kagame spoke in an emotional speech that was shared on social media Sunday. Some 800,000 people, most of them Tutsis and moderate Hutus, were massacred before rebel forces led by Kagame ended the genocide in Rwanda. Burundi is about 85% Hutu and 14% Tutsi. And as Burundi continues to burn, unspoken trauma paralyzes Rwanda genocide survivors. The dead have been buried for 20 years, but the mental trauma left behind by Rwanda's genocide is still very much alive amongst the survivors.
In a church at Nyamata, south of the Rwandan capital Kigali, the possessions of the dead have been left where they were dropped. Some 5,000 Tutsis sought sanctuary in the church. Few survived. Jean Bosco Ringira hid under the benches, protected by the bodies of his neighbors and family, before escaping to the hills at night.
Sometimes I still feel human, but other times I feel crazy. When you've seen so many dead bodies, I saw about 200. I saw my wife and my father, my son and my daughter. You lose your mind and you become crazy.
Rwanda suffered one of the 20th century's most brutal genocides. 800,000 people were murdered in 3 months, many killed systematically with machetes. Before 1994, there was no word for trauma here. Mental illness was usually addressed by traditional healers. But after the massacres, counseling was needed as a matter of urgency. A national policy for mental health was established the following year. There were no psychiatrists in the country in 1994, but now there's a mental health doctor in each of the 40 or so district hospitals. Just 13 when the violence broke out, Vestine survived rape and 9 months later gave birth. 2 decades on, she still struggles to accept her daughter, but says that group therapy has helped them find peace.
They help counsel us and teach us that we can move beyond our past. I've begun to feel like I can put this behind me and change, but you move forward step by step.
Rebuilding resilience after experiencing trauma is a lengthy process. A recent study shows that even 2 decades after the genocide, a quarter of survivors exhibit symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder.
It was a night at that time, a kind of darkness, a deep one. But now, I think darkness didn't went totally, but we have light, and we can open the door and the window to be able to look at the future.
Rwanda has brought itself back from the brink of chaos along a path of healing. But 20 years on, invisible scars still run deep.